welcome to a new episode of Gestatten Sie. My name is Ulrich Eid, and every week I speak to all kinds of creatives about whatever they're passionate about. This week is a very special episode because I got to talk to Mariana Rettore Baptista. She's the exhibition manager and curator at the World Press Photo. We talked because the World Press Photo Exhibition 2025 is currently displayed at the Westlicht in Vienna, and everyone can go and watch. We talked about press freedom, photojournalism, resilience, dignity, the space for hope and joy in the exhibition, and the role World Press Photo plays in it all. Thank you so much to the Landesinnung Wien der Berufsfotografie for supporting this episode, and also a huge thank you to Westlicht for making this episode possible. If you want to view the World Press Photo 2025 exhibition, make sure to go now. It's currently on display at the Westlicht. And now enjoy my conversation with Mariana. Hello, Mariana. Thank you so much for taking the time and talking to me about the current World Press Photo exhibition at the Westlicht.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invite.
How have the last couple days been for you with making sure everything hangs? You're exhibition manager, curator, so you kind of are in the depth of the exhibition. You kind of breathe the exhibition right now, I guess. You've had a couple stops before Vienna. So how are you doing? And how do you look at the exhibition at this point?
Yeah, well, I'm doing good. I think the exhibition looks amazing. And I arrived 2.5 days ago.
Okay.
So we had already 2.5 full days of installation here, making sure everything is perfect and arranged for the opening. And looking forward for the next, I think, 5 weeks of exhibition. So
that's really cool. Is 2.5 days a normal time for you to set up an exhibition like this? Or do you usually have longer or shorter?
Yeah, I mean, with all the details, like cleaning all the images, making sure everything is in perfect state, I think 2.5 days is usually what we take. I mean, but this is like from 8:30 to 6 every day. So it's a good 2.5 long days.
Yeah, I can imagine. Just to talk a little bit about yourself as well in the beginning, how did you come to World Press Photo? What brought you there?
So, it's a funny story maybe, but I think it was kind of a beautiful encounter in a way. So my formal education background, it's in political economy, actually. And I did a master's in the Netherlands where the foundation is based a few years ago, 4 years ago now, and in cultural industries and cultural economy, actually. But then on the moment I needed to find an internship, I already knew World Press Photo for a long time, and I started as an intern. And then, of course, I fell in love with the foundation. I continued working for them for a while as a freelancer. And then 3 years ago, I started officially in the exhibitions team. Although my formal education was in political economy, I have always worked in photography in a way because my family is from Brazil, and there we have a photo festival that I literally grew up with. So since I am 13 years old, I was helping out in the front desk at the festival.
That's amazing.
But always seeing a lot of photography exhibitions. Now the festival, it's going to its 16th edition.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it's really cool. Actually the first time I went to a World Press Photo exhibition was with my family, everyone really interested in photography. So it's kind of was always there, the photography in my blood. Yeah. And later I kind of entered more and more into journalism, press photography, and gained more interest in documentary photography.
Have you ever considered doing photography as a main job yourself?
Well, I did already worked as a photographer, but mainly like for events or like other festivals. Like I photographed a while for a theater, so like dance and performance things. but not officially as a photographer. I know it's a very hardcore profession, and you really need to be really good at it. And
especially in the photojournalism world, it's something totally different as well, especially nowadays.
Yeah, it's fascinating, and I admire all the photographers out there that are looking with so much care and putting so much of their hearts into researching the stories, to get to know people, to really bring these stories to light, to our eyes, to share with us. And I would love to one day maybe do that, but I'm happy also honoring their work through what I do now.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big part as well to showcasing the work. I mean, taking it is the first step, but bringing it to the people and showcasing it kind of is a totally separate work that kind of, makes the pictures worth even more if it's possible to bring them out there to the people and show them. I think it's also super interesting to have someone with a background in photography in the curator role, and having both of those perspectives. Does that help you kind of curate work and work with the whole exhibition team?
Yes. Just a comment before that. I think definitely the work of WordPress Photo in doing the exhibition and bringing this, connecting the people to the stories that matter. It's really, really important, because we know that there are many journalists and photographers, photojournalists. They're working to produce amazing visual stories, but not often they find the way to circulate in the media. So I think, it's a different outlet to put the stories forward with an exhibition, with a different pace for people to look at these photographs. But yes, I definitely think having this background in photography, but also my background in more political economy, being very up to speed to global context, globalization, and the state of the world right now, it does really help in the job. And every exhibition is unique in a way. Well, all the exhibitions are the same once the award images come to the world. But every exhibition space is different, so there's always different choices that need to be made depending on the audience. So it's really interesting how I also think about, how my guided tour will be, how to explain the different regions and the different projects awarded, so that everyone understands the connections that are all around the exhibition. So it's really interesting.
There are so many more layers to this than a usual probably visitor expected to be. So it's very interesting.
It is. And if you let me talk about this exhibition, it can go to an hour or two. It's a lot of layers. And I really am passionate about the work of the foundation, the work of all the photographers we exhibit. And it's sometimes like at the end of the season, because every year we have a different edition of the award and therefore a different edition of the exhibition. And then I know that the exhibition is changing, and I'm kind of sad.
Oh, really? Even after a full year of seeing kind of the similar images or the same images, just in different rooms?
Yeah, because in a way I get attached to them, and I in every exhibition I have, I discover it's like dating, right? You like get more time to get to know each of the projects and each of the images, and you also want to explain them even better at every time you go around with the exhibition. So once I finally feel like, now I know very well how to explain in detail most of the images, then the exhibition changes, which is also very exciting, because that means that there's other stories that will be showcased, and they're equally important and urgent for the world. But there's a little bit of both.
I totally can imagine. What does it need for you to feel like you actually understand a series or an image?
Well, first of all, I think time, and I think that's for everyone, right? In a world that we have so many images circulating in such a fast pace through social media, Instagram, all that, it's often the case that we don't take enough time to look at images. So I think coming to the exhibition, like even me, that I'm seeing these images for such a long time, it's really like an opportunity to pause and take your time to reflect and really understand the other and the scene, the context, and give yourself time to absorb what an image can tell. It's not a scroll in your social media that will do that. Allowing time to see and question and see the details, understand the different layers of an image. It's really fascinating to me. And I think this is an opportunity that the exhibition brings to the audiences.
Yeah, that sounds beautiful. We're also here to talk about kind of one main topic, that is the press freedom. Especially throughout the last couple of years, I think it's gotten a bigger and bigger topic in the whole photography and photojournalism world. How do you, as World Press Photo, look at the topic, and what do you see as most important aspects to kind of put a light on?
So at WordPress Photo, as a foundation, one of our missions is also to discuss press freedom and to highlight the importance of press freedom, because all the images that we see in the exhibition are only there because there's still the possibility of photographers and media workers and journalists to be doing their jobs. As a foundation, we are now celebrating our 70th anniversary. So that is 70 years of bearing witness to what is going on in the world. But at the same time, in the last 20 years, we saw the decrease in press freedom index. Another organization called Reporters Without Borders, they do a press freedom index based in different variables that relate to press freedom. That goes from the governmental rules, the targeting of journalists, how many journalists got killed, how many disappeared, this and that. So it's quite a comprehensive index. And their index in the last 22 years has been only in decline, meaning that more and more countries in the world are facing a tough situation for journalists, and photojournalism is, of course, affected as well. So as part of the mission of the institution, we are also communicating, bringing light to the issue of press freedom, the importance of it to keep democracy, to keep the public aware of our rights, our power as society. And I think over the years, definitely the role of the media changed a lot. We before had many more outlets, media outlets around. Now we have many of them being bought or changing owners. And with social media, everything, the media landscape changed a lot. How we consume it, how we look to the images, the amount of images we consume. But having an institution that is focused on press journalism and really raising this flag of press freedom, it's really important, especially in this time of change and also of polarization and all.
Yeah, for sure. Sounds very important. Do you feel like the role of World Press Photo has changed over the years on how they try and act and put forward their kind of motion towards helping the whole world of press freedom?
I think, first of all, it's good to know that the whole journalism industry has been changing a lot recently. And as part of this industry, WordPress Photo has also been changing. And I think maybe now that the press freedom is in decline, definitely this became more present in our communications, in our mission, because we understand and we are a little bit of a mirroring what the whole industry is facing. So I think, yes, the messaging about press freedom became more and more important. within the institution. And I think, over the last at least 10 years, I would say safely, that we have this press freedom panel, which we display like a little map with where press freedom is in okay situation or not. And you see that most of the map, it's colored in red. So that means that it's something that we need to talk about. And especially thinking that, well, the contest is open only for professional photojournalists. And we have a situation they're less and less able to do their work. We need to talk about it as well as an institution, because we reflect what the industry is suffering.
Yeah, it's super interesting because I just walked through the exhibition before our conversation, and I read that according to one study, there are around 50% of the world population doesn't have access to just freely reported news. That was something really crazy to my ear, because walking through life, especially here in Austria or the developed world, you would kind of guess that there are certain publications that are free from manipulation or kind of have the freedom to tell the stories they actually want to. Is there, or are there certain parts of the world where you can see that they do it right? Or where in the world do you see that it's going better than in other parts of the world, I guess?
Yeah, no, I think first, I completely agree. It's crazy to think that only 50% of world's population has access to independent, accurate, and trustworthy news, especially because this is one of our rights as citizens, right? And having a free media, it's one of the first kind of information you need to know to be able to have a functioning democracy, for example. So it really tells a lot about the situation, the political landscape we're also facing right now. You asked about where the press freedom it's working well. Well, I have a story about this. I think one of the best scored countries in this index is Sweden, and Finland and the Netherlands. And last year I was in the exhibition in Helsinki, and with the WordPress photo exhibition, we had a panel there. And I mentioned in my speech, I'm very proud to be in showcasing this exhibition here, because in Helsinki, because you score really high in the press freedom index. And then there, the exhibition happens in collaboration with one journal, like a newspaper. And they were like, yeah, but this season was the first time ever we had one journalist in our team that received death threats online of she's okay. But yeah, for them was really also a topic that even in the most highest score in terms of press freedom, this is now becoming a topic to be concerned about. So I think it's really, we need to always keep vigilant and with our eyes open to, be critical. Yeah, because it's not being an easy times for journalism, even in the safest countries that you can imagine. They are part of the Western, part of the globe.
What are the main topics that most journalists feel their rights are kind of being suppressed at, or why do most journalists feel unsafe and unable to tell the stories they actually want to tell in a truthful way as well?
Yeah, so I think definitely conflicts. That's, different photographers, journalists covering conflict in difficult areas. It is quite likely that you can get targeted. At WordPress Photo, we also have a policy of being possible to award a project anonymously, to make sure that photographers that want to remain anonymous, they can still win an award and send their work. So for 2 or 3 years in a row, or like, yeah, recently we had 3 journalists, 3 photographers that were awarded with anonymous name coming from Myanmar, because the situation there is really delicate and you cannot have their names published everywhere. So we also have this policy. But yeah, this is one example. But I think there is recently a study, I think, from Committee to Protect Journalists, that they did a research to understand that a lot of journalists and photographers that are covering environmental stories are often being targeted as well. And this I can definitely relate to because, well, I'm Brazilian, I already mentioned that. And 3 years ago, we had Dom Phillips, journalist from The Guardian, that was murdered in the Amazon region while covering a story about illegal mining, illegal deforestation. So I think also, both war or conflict photographers, but also environmental stories are like the ones that are probably the most targeted.
Wow, that's crazy. Do you feel like most press freedom suppression is done by political parties or regimes, or is it more corporations that kind of want to deflect from their interest and not shine light on whatever they're doing?
Well, I don't have the data for this, but definitely check it out in Committee to Protect Journalism. CPJ, they are a great institution and they have a lot of more data and investigation. Maybe another institution that is worth mentioning is the Free Press Unlimited. This is European-based institution that works also, their main work is to protect journalism. So they run a lot of research to understand why our journalists are being targeted. They offer grants and to rescue journalists that are being really threatened. And they probably have more information in these type of details. I'm sorry, I don't have the answer.
No, that's totally fair and makes a lot of sense. That's a great idea and resource for people to look up at.
Maybe one thing just to add into this conversation, because I'm citing some very interesting other organizations that work also around the theme of press freedom, is to say that in our exhibition in Amsterdam, we also have a big memorial for journalists that were murdered or targeted because of their jobs. And this memorial we always do, it's made in collaboration with CPJ, FPU, and Reporters Without Borders, because they have in their index, this research, and it's kind of a collective effort to honor all the journalists that, could not be here today because they were doing their jobs and they were bearing witness to what we need to know to be functioning as a society. So it's a very
to have that displayed there as well. Let's talk a little bit about the current World Press Photo Exhibition 2025. What are the main kind of topics that you saw in the submissions, but also in the awarded images?
I don't have, just so you know, I don't participate in the whole contest period, also because we have 31 jury members, and the process of judging the contest, it's quite complex. We have regional jury members. We have first regional juries in all the 6 regions we have in the contest, and then we have a global jury. And therefore, all the 60,000 images that 60,000 images that
That's
we
impressive.
receive every year, they are judged by in total 31 jury members, but in different phases. And I think in the end, no one sees everything that gets submitted. but like we have the regional juries filtering what will be forward to the global jury, and then the global jury decides on the final awards. So it's a bit of a complex process to get there, but definitely I think the main topics are in this year's exhibition for sure are migration, climate change and climate crisis in different parts of the world, and of course war and conflict. So yeah, we have, of course, the war on Gaza being reported in this exhibition. There's 2 projects that talk about it. One from Ali Jadala, who's a Palestinian photographer based still in Gaza, and another one from Samar Abu Elouf, who won the photo of the year with an image of Mahmoud Ajour. We also have a picture from the situation in Lebanon. We have a series of photos from Syria also that talks about the conflict and what is the aftermath of after the fall of Assad's regime. And of course, we also have 3 projects awarded on the Russian-Ukraine issue.
How do you make sure that not only the kind of conflicts that are most important, I would say most important in kind of exclamation marks, to the Western world? Because I mean, Ukraine, Gaza, Palestine, those are kind of the most reported on conflicts in Europe.
Yeah.
And how do you make sure that not only those kind of conflicts get to see the public and get awarded at the World Press Photo?
Yeah, so it's an interesting question that drives me back to the regional juries. So the way that WordPress Photo contest is set up right now is that we aim to bring really the world into the press photo exhibition. So the idea is that the regional juries will judge within the expertise of the photo industry in their own regions. So that's a way to really decentralize it from Western eyes, because in the end we have each of the 6 regional juries being judged with local photographers, photo editors, curators. So really people there are that have the cultural sensitivity and the cultural background to their own region. So yeah, and I think that's really important and informative on how we bring balance to make sure that we are being fair to all the different regions. Maybe good to know that we also have on the topic of war and conflict, the conflict in Myanmar, represented in this year's exhibition.
Yeah, walking through the exhibition, I saw like, oh yeah, there's way more happening in the whole world that most European kind of news outlets don't really report on.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to hear that that's kind of your system to make sure that all of those conflicts are represented in the awards as well.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the winning shot by Samar Abu Elouf.
Yeah.
Why do you think that it's important for people to see images like that? And also, why do you feel like that image won, or what makes it special for you as well?
I think the photo that won Photo of the Year by Samar Abu Elouf, it's really an interesting portrait and a beautiful portrait that it's talking about the current situation in Gaza, but it goes a little bit beyond that because it's about the aftermath and the long-term consequences of a war, the generational trauma that it leads, that a war causes. And for those who haven't been in the exhibition, the photo we're talking about, it's a young boy that is portrayed in this beautiful light close to a window. He has a very strong emotion, strong expression. But if you look closer, you realize that he doesn't have his arms. He's one of the very few children that was able to leave Gaza to receive special treatment in Qatar to recover after being a civilian victim of an Israeli bombing in Gaza in 2024. So yeah, the image, it's a very beautiful portrait. I think there's a lot of dignity in the portrait. And Samar also, that left Gaza, it's now working in Qatar, and she's part of this community of Palestinians that were evacuated and that can they're still now living and being based in Qatar. And I think the image really speaks about these long-term consequences, and also how, yeah, a child of 9 years old, it's has to do with this war on Gaza, and like the long-term consequences for civilians that suffer from it.
It definitely depicts all kinds of layers to the whole tragedy happening there right now.
Yeah. And I do think it invites us to look with a lot of dignity and to a conflict that, yeah, it's not about a place. It really transcends, the horrors of war, to, to the suffering of the civilian population that is there, and that now, just wants to hug. Yeah, Mahmoud says that he just wanted to hug his mother again. And that's, I think that it does give us a dimension, and I hope it builds empathy to the whole public that comes see the exhibition to,
How do you feel like, or what does a photograph need to look at conflict with dignity and show that there are humans involved in that, and not just show the whole spectacle of a bomb being thrown and an explosion, but actually show the whole humanitarian side of it as well?
Yeah, I think having portraits that are done with dignity, and it's really interesting to talk with Samar and to understand how was the process, and how much also was difficult for her to do this project, because she really wanted to have to build trust with everyone she photographed. The photo was awarded as a single image, but this is a part of a bigger project that she did for the New York Times, and on this hospital that is taking care of the victims of civilians that were in serious conditions when leaving Gaza. So you can see how much care and research and heart she puts in all of this series to make sure that she's portraying the strength of these people, and the strength of their resilience, their power, their dreams. And I think this is one of the most important things when doing documentary photography and portraits. They are talking about such a difficult topic. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Explained. Yeah.
Thank you.
With the winning photograph being from a female photographer, I just thought about, how do you see that there are more women photographers coming into a kind of male dominated genre of journalist photography? Because I feel like, especially in the past, most of the journalist photographers, especially conflict photographers, were male. I'm not sure if that's true, or if that was just my thought or my view on the whole situation. But do you feel like there's a change in that more female photographers are being represented in the exhibition and the award as well?
Yes. Maybe one thing to say, I think there was always female photographers doing a great job.
Of course, yeah.
And maybe it's a little bit of how there is this structural issue of the whole industry being quite still male dominant, and making sure that there is little or no room for female photographers to thrive. But then I also think that we at WordPress Photo, we have been making sure that we bring more attention to female photographers. So for the contest, we now have a representation rule. That means that at least 25% of the awards need to have a female photographer. And I think this has been a very interesting commitment from the
For sure.
from the institution to make sure that we have more and more female photographers applying, having the courage to apply, and having really an incentive to apply. In the last few years, we saw the increase on the number of female photographers applying and winning awards. So that's really good. Also, within our other programs, we have an educational program called Jupsword Masterclass that we also have. Usually half of the students, the masterclass students are female photographers. So
That's amazing.
I think that's really, really good. And I think it's a stand that we need to take in such a unequal world of opportunities. And I think it's very interesting also to think about this gender inequality within the field, because if you are a female journalist working in a conflict zone, it's the types of threats that you might face are quite different than if you're a man. So I think this is something that WordPress Photo is aware. I hope this is common sense for the whole industry soon, to understand that there's different opportunities and for female photographers.
Yeah, it's a really important topic, I think. Having been with WordPress Photo for 3 years now, I think you said?
Yeah.
You've seen a bunch of pictures, also nominated pictures. Do you think that, kind of sticking with that topic for a second longer, do you feel like female photographers capture struggles, capture conflicts differently than men do?
I would say no. I think they bring in maybe a different access or a different cultural sensitivity to it, but I wouldn't say they do better or worse. I think they do the same. They are capable to do the same amazing work that many photojournalists did and have been doing since ever. Maybe in terms of access, I would say that women photographers maybe can put forward different layers or maybe different phases of the same conflict that were possibly overlooked in the past. Maybe one interesting thing to mention, it's the work of Cynthia Canetti, one of the photographers that won the award this year about the war going on in Tigray region, so between Eritrea, Ethiopia, and Sudan. And Cynthia, as a female journalist and also a feminist activist working in the region, she decided to focus on, to turn her lenses to the female and how they are affected differently in this war, how rape, it's like the women are targeted in a different way and in a different types of victim of the same conflict. And I think this kind of layer and this kind of access, because Cynthia is also trying to bring within her project moments of tenderness and resilience, of women coming together, building a community to heal and to help each other, to understand what are the risks that women face in this conflict and how to address it. So I think it comes with a different layer and a different understanding, a different access to this kind of this different side of the same conflict. And I think that's maybe a differentiator. But besides that, I think men and women can produce both amazing photo series.
No, that's for sure. That's exactly what I wanted to get to. That kind of men sometimes have a different experience and maybe have not experienced some tragedies or have not dealt with some difficulties that women have. So they might have a different approach to tell a story.
Yeah.
So you told that story really beautifully.
Thank you.
Thank you. How much are you as WordPress in communication with photographers directly?
In which sense?
Like, is there a way for you as a kind of organization to actually have conversation, to listen to photographers, hear what they're struggling with, what they're dealing with, what their thought processes are when actually being there in the midst of all the conflict? so you have an understanding of what the kind of industry looks like and what people and journalists are dealing with.
So yes, the WordPress photo a few years ago, and I think every 5 years, does a research with photographers, professional press photographers, and photojournalists about the state of the industry.
Mhm.
I think that was the name of the research as well, and in which they asked, okay, what are the biggest difficulties working in the field? What do you feel it's different? What changed? I remember the last publication we had about this research was also asking photographers, okay, now that there's way more need to produce video, do you do both video and photography in your work? So we also want to understand more and more how the industry is changing in the core of the industry, which are the photographers. So in a way, yes, we keep in touch with the photographers. Of course, we keep in touch always with the winners of each year. And in a way, we are, a big player in the industry. So we are always in touch for different programs, being it educations or panel lectures or, maybe interviews and all with photography industry experts. So our jury members are often in touch with us to get some feedback about something. And yeah, maybe it's good to know that since last year we started a project on safety for journalists, and we had a few winners and past winners of WordPress photo that were invited for a safety training, and this came out after one of the research we did with our winners to understand, okay, where are the photographers working in really bad press freedom situations that maybe a safe, and often freelancers that have less access to a press vest or to a safety training, to make sure that they are able to do their job the best way. So this is the second year that we are doing this safety training at WordPress photo. And yeah, it's one of the ways that also we keep in touch with the photographers.
That sounds amazing, though. That something came out of that, and you're actually building something.
Yeah, and every year when we host all the winners that won the award in Amsterdam, we also ask them, okay, what do you want when you come to Amsterdam? Because it's a moment to celebrate their award, but it's also a moment to develop their skills, to really like nurture them with what they need. So we always have like different workshops, and making sure that they profit and they enjoy this week professionally the best way possible. So yeah, I don't know if this answers the question.
No,
I hope
definitely does. Yeah. Walking through the whole exhibition, I realized that most of the images are from conflict zones and kind of portraying tragedy. And I was wondering, what kind of role does hope and joy play in the whole World Press Award? Is there space for that as well? Or is the main reason for the whole award to actually show what tragedies are going on in the world?
Yeah, I thank you for this question. I think it's an interesting discussion. And yes, coming from the press world, we can, I mean, I hope very soon we only have beautiful images showing joy. But at the same time, we're proud to be able to be an institution that does showcase difficult topics as well. At the same time, I say that I think it's also important to see that some of these images are about strength and resilience and joy as well. So maybe on the strength and resilience stories, I can give an example of the photo of the year, because it's a photo that really, it's talking about the future of Mahmoud, and I think there's a lot of strength in that portrait in a way. So it's a portrait that for me speaks about resilience and the future. Maybe Also, the single image by Temi from Africa, which portrays this secret pride celebration in Lagos, Nigeria. And it's a photo that it's really like a club night of the LGBT community celebrating while the status of LGBT people in Nigeria, it's quite sensitive, and actually they face persecution by the government. So I think it's a photo that is talking about a difficult situation, but portraying it in the most positive and strength and hopeful way. Yeah, maybe my favorite photo of this exhibition, this year's exhibition, it's the photo of André Coelho, which is a Brazilian photographer, and he's just photographing a moment of cathartic joy of these two Botafogo fans. They're holding each other after Botafogo won the final championship of South America football. And there's also space for this kind of stories. And I think it's up to us to understand and really see how resilience and strength there is in each of these projects. And definitely cathartic joy is also part of this year's exhibition, and I'm very proud about it. Yeah, I actually cheer for the team that lost that game. So
and you can still enjoy the picture.
Yes, but I still can enjoy the picture. It's just a beautiful image. And I don't know if you heard of that, but the two guys there hold each other and crying in the image out of joy, of course. They didn't know each other. They were just together when the game was over, and they were like, okay,
that's beautiful.
That's the moment to cry.
That's amazing.
Yes. So yeah, I like, usually when I give a guided tour, I would talk about all the difficult situations that are portrayed in the exhibition, but I always end with this image because for me it's also a very emotional image that really moves me in a way that I think that we can only make change in the world if we have joy, and if it really comes from this emotional side of like being able to share joy, to be willing to share joy. And I think that image speaks about that a little bit for me.
Oh yeah, and I think there's no better ending than to end there. I mean, we had couple different topics as well, but I think that's the point to leave it at. Where can people visit the World Press Photo Exhibition here in Vienna so they know when and where they can come and visit?
Yeah, so please come to see the World Press Photo Exhibition in Westlicht. I don't know if I pronounce it so right.
Westlicht, yeah.
Yeah, almost there.
That was pretty good.
That was fine. The exhibition is open from today.
Well, the podcast is probably gonna release next week, so it's already been running.
Yeah,
for a week,
it's already running.
Come visit now.
Come visit now. This is the time. So please come. You can come until the 9th of October to check out the exhibition. I highly recommend you to bring family and friends. Take some time. You can also have a coffee here, and it's a good experience. There's also a free audio guide if you want to hear the photographers talking about their projects in their own voices. We also have it translated to German. So that's the good.
Yeah. Mariana, thank you so much for taking the time on this beautiful conversation.
Thank you.
Thanks and bye.
Bye.
Yeah, this was my conversation with Mariana. I think it was a beautiful conversation, really, really interesting to see what's going on behind the curtains at World Press Photo and what she has to say about it all. Thank you so much to her for taking the time and speaking with me. And also a big thank you to Westlicht for making this episode possible. If you liked the episode, make sure to give it a 5-star review and follow the podcast. At the end, as always, thank you so much to Mala Kolumne for the amazing cover and Belinda Thaler for the jingle. See you next week. Bye.